Okay, so the last bit for projectors, whatever you enter into projectors, what you're waiting for is someone who's offering you energy. And in order to offer you the right kind of energy, they need to see you. So for any projector in a relationship who is feeling something isn't quite right, the thing to ask yourself is, do I feel recognized? Do I feel recognized? And before you enter into a relationship also, do you feel recognized by the person who is inviting you into a relationship? Projectors can be so excited about getting any invitation at all that we very often will say yes to the wrong invitation because we want one so badly. The right invitation is one that recognizes our actual gifts. And if we have 3 or 4 gifts and the invitation only is recognizing one of them, that's the energy that we're going to get. We will get energy for that gift, but we won't get energy for the other gifts. So it's good to know that. And when you get an invitation, it's good if all your friends know to offer you clear invitations. It's good if possible lovers know that you need a clear invitation, a formal invitation. I invite you. And that invitation needs to include energy. Energy means money or a place to stay or a plane ticket or some kind of goodies that is high quality, because projectors are here to be sort of aristocrats, to sit on a couch, drink tea, and offer their overview of how the energy is going when invited and not when not invited. Projectors love to give discourses. They love to point things out and say, oh, this is like this and that's like that. But people will block them unless they've been invited formally. So with love, you need a clear invitation. Then you need to ask yourself, do I feel recognized by this person? Does this person see my oddness in this world? Because projectors are not really, because they're not energy beings. They're not here to kind of slog, and everybody expects everybody else to slog. So you need to feel recognized for your non-sloggingness. And don't be ashamed about the goodies. You need fuel to act. You will be acting with the other's fuel, and you want Rolls-Royce fuel. You don't want the oil that the samosa wala has been frying the samosas in for the last 20 years from his wagon down at the corner. You want something high class. And until that comes, you don't need to say yes. And because you have an open G center, and you're here to be wise about energy, and you're not here to be like a sexual, generating force. So when you get involved with someone, whatever their style is, whatever their energy is like in bed, that's what you're going to get, and you can't influence it. You can't change it. You're not going to be able to make it different. Either you like it or you don't like it. And if you don't like it, it's not the right person for you. So that's for the projectors. And now we're going to enter into a new realm, the profiles. And I'm very grateful that Cassandra has already told you some stuff about profiles. But I want to start with something basic, what profiles come from. When I was a teenage hippie and I was hitchhiking around Europe with a band of people, one of our number had a book called the I Ching. It was the Chinese book of changes. It was a big fat book which had 64 hexagrams in it, and it came with some sticks, short sticks and long sticks, and you had to throw the sticks and then look at how they had fallen And from that, you would see what the hexagram was for the moment. So it was kind of a divination tool. And we used it a lot while we were otherwise unemployed. So when human design came into my life, this I Ching was already kind of there. And I appreciated the poetry of the way that those hexagrams were described in that book. It's not just numbers, it's quite poetic the way that it's laid out. So in human design, if you look at your chart and you look at the columns of numbers on the right and on the left of your chart, you've got the pictogram, you've got the the diagram, and then on either side you've got a column of numbers. One is in black and one is in red. And those numbers have a full stop after each one and then another number. And that other number is between 1 and 6. The little numbers, we'll call them those little numbers, that are on either side of your first number in those lines. And this we call your sun. The position of the sun at your birth is on the right, and 3 months before your birth is on the left. The number after the gate number, because what you've got is a gate number. A gate is a colored in piece of a channel. And after that gate number, you have a small number. The small number on the right side, the small number on the left side, these form what's called your profile. So, for example, Anka, a 3 and a 5. So you're a 3-5. Joanna, 2 and a 4. Anna, 4 at 1. Arena, 1-3. Sabuti, 5-1. Antonia, 2-5. Nuri, 4-6. Ume, 3-5. Cassandra, 5-1. Yasemin, 1-3. Linda, 2-4. This is one of the reasons why it's so important to have the correct birth time, because the position changes. So like in the course of a day, you would have several different profiles. So it's important to know that you've got the right one, because it's quite an important piece of your design. It is your modus operandus in the world, your way of operating in the world. And I want to talk for a moment about those numbers 1 to 6, because they are very, very significant throughout human design, not just in the profile, but in several other areas. So it's one of the most fundamental principles. The first line is like the foundation of a house. So if you can imagine a house, and there is on the bottom a slab of concrete, maybe there's a cellar under it, there's a sense of, there's the floor, something you put your weight on, something you stand on. It's solid, and it has to be really solid and good for that house to stand correctly. So first lines, everywhere you find them throughout your design, are foundational. They are interested in digging deep to find out what is true, what is real. Now, because everything comes in a binary, this also implies that that first line feels insecure. That first line feels insecure, therefore she wants to dig deep and find her security. And everywhere you look throughout your design, when you find that first line, it is interested in security and foundations. The second line is what we call the hermit. And the first line we call the investigator. Okay, the second line we call the hermit. And this is like a person who's inside the house on the ground floor. The window is not curtained. The person is in there and she's doing stuff that she feels like doing. She is what we call the natural. There's stuff that she likes to do that she simply knows how to do. It doesn't matter if she studied it or not. Maybe she studied it a little bit. Maybe she didn't study it at all. Maybe she studied it for a while and sort of forgot what she was taught, but came back to the way she wanted to do it in the first place. But she's simply born with being good at something. She isn't interested in any other people. She doesn't care about the people outside. She only enjoys her own company. And she's very happy in there doing her own thing. But in another way, because everything's a binary, she's also waiting to be called out, to be recognized, seen for what she's doing, and invited to come out of her hermitage. But when that happens, and it does happen sometimes, somebody will see what she's doing and say, oh, wow, that's groovy, knock on the door and want to invite her out. She might feel really freaked out at first. Like, oh shit, I don't want to go out there. It's scary out there. It's weird out there. It's full of people. Hell, what do I want to go out there for? So she can expect to feel rattled by those callings out, but she also waits for them in another way. The third line is like the mezzanine. You're starting to go up the stairs. And this is what we call the martyr. And a lot of things in human design, by the way, sound bad, and they're not bad. They're right and real and true. The martyr simply means that the third line has to make mistakes. It has to bump into things because that is how it learns. Trial and error is how it works. It's interested in learning through experience, not through intellect. So anyone with a third line in your profile, you are supposed to make mistakes, and we really need to take away all idea that mistakes are bad. The society says, and probably your parents said, oh, it's terrible, if you spill your milk, if you crash your bicycle. But anyone with a third line in the profile has a theme of trial and error. So you're supposed to make mistakes, and then you're supposed to observe what happened. So your parents should have said, oh, that's great that you bumped your bicycle into the wall. What did you learn from that? And it's good to accept that you might end up making mistakes a lot, and even the same one again and again. Osho used to tell us mistakes are good, just don't make the same one twice. But anyone with a third line is going to make it twice. So don't feel bad about it. It's okay. And once that third line has made enough mistakes, they can get really good at a lot of stuff because they really tried it out. Okay. The fourth line, we'll have that like up there on the first floor on one side of the house. This is the friend, the confidant. And this is a transpersonal line. That means it's connecting with the other. Those first three lines are introspective. The second three lines are transpersonal. They go towards the other. So that fourth line, what it really cares about is, are you my buddy? Are you my friend? And when somebody's your friend, you like to talk with them. You like to gossip. You like to have a good chat. This is also called networking, because with your circle of friends, you get your opportunities. It's called the opportunist. The opportunist gets her opportunities through her circle of friends. And the worst thing she can do is to try to influence strangers. The fourth line is not for strangers, it's for your circle of friends and their friends. So this is where your opportunities come from. And it's a very cozy feeling. So do stuff through people that you know and don't worry about everybody else. Another thing for the fourth line is don't leave a situation till you have a replacement. Don't leave a lover till you have another lover. Don't leave a house till you have another place to go. Don't leave a job till you have another job. Once in a while, life will come in and force one of these leavings to occur, and then you can have a very hard time finding the right replacement for it. And I can tell you from my own experience. In 2016, I had had a very good job for 3.5 years. I was a private psychic for an aristocrat. And he inherited a lot of money and decided that he didn't want to pay my rent anymore because my invitation as a projector had included that my rent was paid for this job. And he decided he didn't want to anymore. And I was therefore going to be not having a house. So I became homeless. And as a fourth line in my profile, I'm a 2-4. It was 18 months that I was couch surfing, and it was not fun. And lots of things didn't work in that time. Uh, I was very creative with it because this is my design also. So I actually managed to self-publish 2 books in that time, even being homeless. But that was my way to handle it. But anyway, to find another place, really, it was a big trip. So if you're a fourth line, what you're really interested in is heart-to-heart talks, and you can trust that. Then the fifth line, also we have that one up on the first floor on another part of the house. This is the practical person. The practical person who looks at how things work, who's good at hands-on fixing stuff, seeing how things work, practical solutions. Now, it happens that the world is hungry for practical solutions. So people with fifth lines are in what we call a projection field. Other people look at them and they project on them that those people will have practical solutions. And then they expect this. And if the person with the fifth line does not have a practical solution for that particular problem, people get mad at them. If the fifth line does have a practical solution, people get very excited and they say, oh, she's so amazing. She fixed my thingamajig. It was just wonderful what she did. But if she can't fix it, they go, she couldn't even fix my whatchamacallit. Ooh, who does she think she is? So I see Cassandra laughing. She recognizes this. She's a 5-1. So 5 fifth lines get paranoid by and by because it's quite a burden to have everybody projecting on you all the time that you are the real deal. You can really make it work. Because not every problem has a solution or should have a solution right now. Timing is everything. Human design is all about timing, and timing is not in our hands. So a problem that can't be solved this week might be able to be solved next week, but it might be solved by somebody else. So the only way the fifth line knows if it's the right problem to engage in is by her inner authority. Do I feel like it? Does my energy want to engage with this problem right now? Not because I should, not because people will like me, but because I feel like it, because energy rises up to play with it, or whatever your inner authority is. And even if you're not a fifth line, you can watch this in your own life. You have people in your life with a fifth line, and you are projecting on them, and you want them to fix things for you and make things work for you. And if they can't do it, you're mad at them. And I've really noticed this myself. I've been watching it since I found out about this. So the fifth line, because of this projection field, you're supposed to be mysterious. It's like you are behind a veil, and if somebody wants you to work on their problem for them, they have to seduce you out. They have to, they have to somehow persuade you to come out. And you'll be mysterious all your life. In love, you might find your partner gets irritated by and by because he can't solve the problem of you. He can't get his hands on what makes you tick, on what you really are. But you're supposed to be like that. It's kind of your protection. So it's okay. The sixth line is the watcher on the hill, the rooftop. This person is on the roof looking down at what everybody's doing in the neighborhood, seeing whether anything is valuable there, because the sixth line is interested in what is truly of value. That's what they're all about. Is it really valuable? Is it worth my getting out of bed for in the morning? And they can be apathetic when something doesn't feel valuable to them. They might not want to get out of bed. They also eventually become a role model, and they have a three-part life. The third line also has a three-part life. The first part, in fact, in the first part of the life, the sixth line is like a third line. They are bumping into things. They're looking at what doesn't work. The second part of the life, the sixth line is retreating into their own space, even though they are fully involved in life on the outside. Somewhere inside they've withdrawn so that they can look and see, is anything here worth engaging? In my first 28.6 years, it didn't look like it, but I'm going to check it out from up above and see. And then at age 50, because in human design, life begins at 50, the sixth line is brought back into life by other people, and they are a role model, not by what they do, but by the fact that they are themselves. A role model is simply somebody who has found out who she is and can be that. And this is very, very empowering for other people. So the sixth line is aloof in a way, and it likes to give its observations and advice to people. And if it does that when it hasn't been asked to, people don't like it because it can be a bit high-handed. It can also be a bit serious because when you're always only looking for what's valuable, and many things are frivolous, and the sixth line often isn't interested in those frivolous things that people do. I have met sixth lines who could really laugh, though. It was a bit the exception, but I have seen it. Okay, so those are the lines.
I didn't catch the name description of the fifth line.
That is it's called the heretic, because if you try to do something practical and it doesn't work, people burn you at the stake. That's why it's called the heretic. Really, really something scary there. Okay, so now putting those all together in these profiles, which Cassandra has already read to you about. Cassandra, were you reading to them short descriptions or longer descriptions?
They were about like a page and a half, like of an A4 sheet.
Uh-huh.
So I read from Chayton Parker's book, like on human design. So the
Oh,
long
you did that one.
on profile.
Okay, good. Has anybody, by the way, bought the book that I recommended at the beginning, Ra's book, the Science of Differentiation? Did anybody buy that yet? Okay, so after today's class, tomorrow, I will be scanning and emailing all of the profiles from that book so that each one of you can look at all of them, but you can also study yours in some depth, and you all have it there. because it's something that you keep coming back to again and again and again and again. And right now, I'm going to give you some short descriptions, kind of capsule descriptions that are easy to just sort of hold in your hand and look at. And then we'll be looking at what the intimacy style is in relation to all of this. Okay, so the 1-3, and here let's see how many 1-3s have we got. We've got Arena and Yasemin are both 1-3s. This is a very, very important profile. Everybody else is standing on the shoulders of the 1-3s. You guys are the pioneers. You try things out. You try things out first before everybody else does. Whatever new techniques there are, whatever new guru has come to town, you try it out and you see if you like it. You see if it works. And in that, you might make some mistakes, but you're trying to dig deep and you like to study, to do investigation. Then you can share it with the rest of us. And in order for this to happen in a very kind of efficient way, you see things in terms of black and white. You know, you ate a mushroom and you didn't die. So yes, this is a great mushroom. You ate a mushroom and you got really sick. Oh, that's a very bad mushroom. Nobody should eat that mushroom. And it's not really very interested in the gray shades, but just this is good, that's bad. The 1-3 also sees things in terms of weakness and strength. And this is kind of a pitfall in intimacy because we in this society respect strength and we despise weakness. This is how we are conditioned. It's a very bad mistake to do that because there is no weakness without strength and there is no strength without weakness. They depend on each other. It's a binary. And the 1-3 is supposed to embrace weakness and strength, both. They go in a wave. In some ways, one is very vulnerable, and in other ways, one is very strong. When you can embrace two opposites together, you have gone beyond the mind. But the mind always wants to choose. Oh no, I should only be strong. Now, 1-3s are here to become authorities when they're old enough, maybe 50, maybe a bit earlier, who knows? They are here after they've experienced things and investigated things to become an authority, and they want to do that. And they lie low until that time has come. But when they are an authority, they don't like to be challenged. And I have seen 1-3s who were so wanting to show that they were authorities that they rejected their own weakness, their own vulnerability, and then projected it on other people and judged it there. And in this way, they became very high-handed, kind of bossy and snobby authorities, which is not what we want. We want, as the 1-3, to embrace her whole humanity, to stay humble, to remember that she's a perpetual student of life. Even as a teacher, she's still a student. And that's right for her. The investigating martyr. Okay. The next one is the 4-1, the opportunistic investigator. Oh no, sorry, I'm going to start up at the top of this page, sorry. The next is the 2-4, the hermit opportunist. Okay, the hermit opportunist, we have Joanna, Linda. Okay. The 2-4 is the friendly hermit. This is somebody who is very happy doing her own thing. She does sometimes get called out. When she gets called out, something transformative can happen where she surprises everybody and surprises also herself, but not as much as she surprises other people. She can be very total in whatever happens once she's been called out correctly. And it's a very balanced profile because it's very evenly divided between the introspective and the extrovert. Um, so they're very good at something or other that they like to do. That's the second line. They can become a missionary when they get called out because when they find something they really love to do, they can pursue it with a whole lot of enthusiasm. And as I reported before, because it has the fourth line in it, this is someone who shouldn't leave a thing till she has something to replace it. And she's confiding. She's quite confiding. Now, just as a little aside, if, well, no, we'll come to that later. We'll come to that later. Yeah, okay. Next, we have the 2-5, the hermit heretic. These are practical people who have to keep their reputation up, so they have to stay mysterious. The reputation is needed because they have a place in society that they want to stay in. They are naturally brilliant in some area, and they like seclusion. But people often have false expectations of them, and so they can be reluctant to engage. However, on rare occasions, if they have a practical solution, they can call themselves out of seclusion. Do we have any 2-5s? Antonia. Tonya is a 2-5. Then we have the martyr heretic, the 3-5. And we have Anka and Umi are 3-5s. So I was in my 7.5-year relationship was with a man who was a 3-5. So I really got to examine that one a lot. And I really, really liked it. These people are the great experimenters in life. They are problem solvers, troubleshooters with a scientific inclination. They will bump into everything that doesn't work in society and will find practical solutions for it. Often others get tired of hearing from them about everything that doesn't work. This can lead to social isolation. They become very, very, very accomplished by the time they are 50 because they have tried out so many things. The boyfriend I was with, he loved cars. And his mother told me that when he was young, she was from the Midwest, she said it like this, he rolled a lot of vehicles. So he bashed up a lot of cars while he was in his third line process of making mistakes. But by the time I met him in his 40s, he was a genius driver. He liked to just sit there. And I asked him once, what are you thinking about when you're just sitting there driving? And he said, I'm listening to the motor. So very attuned to that mechanic thing he was because he was so practical. Like everybody, the martyr heretic has to be very careful not to agree to try to solve someone's problem unless she's sure she knows how to do it. Because if it doesn't work, she will be judged by people and burnt at the stake. The 3-6, the martyr role model, and we have any 3-6s? No, we have no 3-6s. These people have some of the deepest wisdom about the trial and error process of life. As they mature, they become living examples of how to handle the challenges of life. They have an underlying optimism and innocence that allows them to endure life's trials and tribulations. So those are people that it's good if they have a sense of humor because they bump into things all their life, lots and lots of trial and error, and they can become role models. The 4-6, the opportunistic role model, Nuri is a 4-6. These people are the witnesses of their social environment. They are the great networkers in their immediate community and circle of family and friends. They are seen as friendly and sociable by others. Through observation, they develop good interpersonal skills. Ultimately, they must mature into role models of what they have observed that works. Okay, there's more that we can say about it. The 4/6s are a funny breed because they are here to influence other people, but not to be influenced. And what this means in a practical way in interaction, they're really only interested in people who have opinions like their own. And they're only supposed to keep people around them who agree with them. I have a friend who's a 4/6, and I was talking with her about Facebook unfriending. Because for me, it's a huge step to unfriend somebody. I think I've only done it like 2 or 3 times in my life since I got on Facebook that I've actually unfriended somebody. And she just said, "Oh, yeah, if somebody says something I don't like, I just unfriend them." And I thought, "Wow, you mean it's okay to do that? You know, you can really just unfriend somebody because you didn't like what they said?" But for a 4/6, this is really right. They have no use for somebody that doesn't have the same kind of perspective that they do in life. Now, this can make it weird in your family because inevitably in your family, there's going to be a lot of people that don't see eye to eye with you, and you can't unfriend them. Well, you sort of can. I see Nuri shaking her head. But I think it's important for the 4/6s that they affirm their right to be um, so exclusive like that, to be a little bit sort of rigid in that way. It's kind of like other people's opinions just roll off them like water off the back of the duck. Next, we come to the 4/1. Anna is a 4/1. This is a very rare profile. Anna, are you here? Did you come this time? No? Well, anyway, she can get the recording.
Oh,
So
she's
I'm
here.
always, oh,
She's
she's here.
here.
Oh, great. I'm always really excited when I see a 4/1 when somebody's getting a session with me because it's so rare. I've seen maybe 4 or 5 of them in all my years. And I have a really good friend also who's a 4/1. I love being able to affirm to the 4/1, you don't ever have to compromise. You are here to be uncompromising, rigid, rigid. You only do what you want to do in your own way, and other people have to accommodate themselves to you. Of course, the mind is going to say, "Oh, but, everybody should be this and everybody should be that, and I should be this and I should be that." My friend who's the 4/1, sometimes she asks me, maybe I should make more space for people that have different views than I do and stuff. And no, she doesn't have to. It's called fixed fate. Um, these people are excellent teachers. It's not in their nature to change who they are or what they stand for. They have a very specific and fixed purpose in life, and it belongs to no one to change that. So the 4/1 can be like an oak tree. They have a network because they have the fourth line. So they're like sitting in the middle of their um, bunch of people that they are connected with. And the network, it can be very big, no reason why not. But they are like the oak tree that other people can shelter under. Other people are reassured by their fixed quality, by the kind of strength of that rigidity. Other people are made peaceful by it. You know how you feel when you sit under a tree. So the 4/1 should never think she should be different and that she should be more flexible. She gets to just be like the oak tree. then, so where's the rest of them? The 5-1, this is Subhuti and Cassandra, the heretical investigator. These people are often our leaders, generals, and gurus. They are natural leaders. Their personal nature is very private, but in times of need, they are good at finding solutions for organizations, governments, and society as a whole. Others have the expectation that these people have the answers, and if they don't deliver a practical solution, they're burned at the stake. Their reputation is ruined. There's more about them. My dad was a 5-1. They are empathic. They feel for other people, and other people know that this is genuine. They are often, I know a lot of healers who are 5-1s, I think because of this empathy. They are not supposed to go around trying to fix everything for people until and unless it's the right moment. They've been asked, they're needed, and they know they can do it. They have responded to the crisis from their inner authority, saying, now is the time, and I have something to give here. And it might be an innovative solution that they bring. Next, we have the 5-2, the heretical hermit. We don't have any of those. These people are natural geniuses in some particular thing and have leadership potential, but they often don't see it in themselves. Because of the great expectations others place on them, they retreat into a private world. They often feel oppressed by these overblown expectations of society. The 6-2, the role model hermit. We don't have any of those. These people are here to be living examples of what they have learned in the 3 phases of their lives. In the first phase, they experience great challenges and trials. In the second phase, they withdraw and become objective observers of how to deal with those challenges. In the third phase of their lives, they walk in the world as natural living examples of what they have learned. The last one is the 6-3, the role model martyr, and we don't have any of those. These people are eternal optimists, no matter what challenges life brings to them. Although they also have 3 phases to their lives of challenge, observation, and example, the challenges never end for them. This adds an eternal element of chaos to their lives, and they are always learning from their experiences. A good sense of humor and the ability to laugh at themselves will make life easier. Okay, so those are basically the profiles. Now, we're going to look at them in terms of relationship. And here's the thing. If you look at your design, you will see down on the right side of the body graph, there is your emotional center. Either it's colored in or it's not. And there is a channel that, if it's colored in or part of it is colored in, connects with the sacral motor. That channel is called intimacy, and its numbers are 59-6. Does everybody see that? Intimacy channel is 59-6. Some
Sorry,
people have it.
is black a color in this case?
It doesn't matter whether it's black or red or black and red
Oh,
for our purposes right now, as long as it's has anything colored in at all. If anything is colored in that channel, this is going to determine your intimacy style, and I will explain exactly how. If nothing is colored in on the intimacy channel, your intimacy style will be determined by your profile. So I'm going to go through you guys one by one and tell you what your intimacy style is. And you know what? I'm desperate for a pee-pee before I do that. So all of that horrible hassling on the internet. So I'll be back in 3 minutes. If you need a pee, go take one now.
Anka, I have a question. Has those profiles been sent out to everybody individually, or because I don't think I received any?
You have received it twice.
Okay, so you send it via email or
Mm-hmm.
from
Yeah,
Evolve email?
if you check your email, I have sent you today and 3 days ago.
And can you share the name of the book, Anka?
Yes.
Okay, I'm back. Is everybody there? So, Anka. So, Anka, you have the gate 6 colored in black. You see that? Coming
see
out
that.
of that emotional center?
Yes.
Okay. And that 6, if you look on the column of the black numbers on the right side and you go down until you find the 6, you see that it has a 6 after it. So 6.6, you see that?
Yeah.
Okay. And that 6, that second 6 there is a nuance of this gate, the gate of friction, it's called, and it's called the peacemaker. So your intimacy style, Anka, is the peacemaker. Now, we come to something a little bit more complicated that we will go into more next time. Anytime you have a gate means an opening, and it's shown by this colored in thingy sticking out of that center. Anytime you have a gate on an open center, one that's not colored in, it has a different job than if it's on a colored in center. And its job is, it's something that you're here to become wise about. It's not really you. Because of this, it's going to attract trouble. So it won't be consistent. You are the peacemaker, but you will be challenged as the peacemaker. Sometimes you will not feel peaceful at all. And sometimes you will be soothing the troubled waters. Does this have any resonance for you, Anka?
Yeah, I thought it's from my childhood, but the peacemaker thing, like, yeah, I was between some situations all the time and I was trying to keep the peace. This is how I was all my life. But
I could
now,
see it in the way you handled this tech problem that just happened. You know, the energy coming out of you, because also you're a 3/5, so there's this practical energy too. But you were sending soothing vibes out over the thing to me, which you knew I was absolutely freaked out, and you were trying your best to soothe. Okay, now we come to the next one. Oh my God, where's my pile of charts? Wait, I've got the wrong pile here. I've got the other pile. Just a moment. Oh, no, here it is. Oh, what? Yeah. Okay, next we have Subhuti. Subhuti, are you there?
Yep.
Okay, so you do not have any of the gates of the intimacy channel colored in. So we go to your profile to find out what your intimacy style is. You are a 5-1 theoretical investigator, and the kind of intimacy watchword for those 2 lines is what we then look at. Seducer, seduced is the 5th line, and pursuer, pursued is the 1st line. So this is your intimacy style: seducer, seduced, pursuer, pursued. Does that make any sense to you?
Not so much, actually.
Something just to let it rattle around and see how it feels. It kind of means somebody needs to pull you or you pull them in some way. But I don't know, you just check it out and see how it feels. Okay, next we have Tonya. Tonya, you have the gate 59, the gate of sexuality, on an open sacral center. So this is your intimacy style, and it's something you're here to become wise about. So it's going to attract some trouble. And anytime we have a gate 59 on an open center, we have the potential for the person to get extremely interested in sex and not know when to stop and kind of, do a lot of experimenting about it. This is possible. So the gate 59, Tonya, that you have is both conscious and unconscious. The conscious one is in the a nuance of the femme fatale, and you have it in a detriment. Now, people get very excited about detriments and exaltations. These are little arrows going down or up after those small numbers. This is a position of the planet which is either easier or more difficult. And it is exactly supposed to be the way it is. So you were born to have it just the way it is because it's part of your kind of learning in this life and your soul's journey in this life. You're supposed to love it. You're supposed to love yourself for it. So Tonya, it's the same nuance that you have on both of those, but this means you've got it doubly. The power of sexuality as sexual power. This is the femme fatale, and she really has no choice but to show off her sexiness. I don't know how that's been in your life, something to look at. Anything to say about that, Tonya? Okay, then Uma, I can't say it right. Uma? How do I say it?
Umi. Umi.
Umi. Okay, good. Umi, you have the gate of friction, gate 6. It's colored in red, so this means it's not conscious. It's on your open center, so something you're here to become wise about. You have it in the nuance of retreat. This means when you see, Tonya says she does not resonate with the femme fatale. Yeah, when I saw you, you didn't look like femme fatale. I know someone who has that, who has her emotional center colored in, and she's all over that one. But I don't know, something to look at. I don't know how that one is for you, Tonya. Just have a look. Maybe it was suppressed or something. So anyway, coming back to Umi. Not conscious, the 6th line, retreat. So this is, if you see something isn't working, it's natural for you to retreat. Does that make sense to you, Umi?
Not sure. I have to think about it.
To step back. Okay, think about it. Cassandra. Cassandra has the whole intimacy channel. So anybody with the whole intimacy channel is like everybody feels like their lover. Men, women, everybody feels like their best friend or their lover. They have an aura that penetrates other people's auras to create union. Now, this is quite a thing to carry around in this life. I call it the movie star channel. It's so attractive. Everybody wants some of it. Everybody wants to get their hands on you. And at the same time, it is very sensitive, incredibly sensitive. So it has to be very clear about its inner authority that it only engages in intimacy when it really, really, really feels right, when enough time has been taken, when the depth has been sounded to see if it's really correct. Cassandra, the nuances you have are the peacemaker and I just have the, oh yeah. Openness and the peacemaker. So openness is it's open, and the peacemaker is soothing the troubled waters. But it's not conscious, the channel, because it's half red and half black. It's very rich, this channel. It's very, very deep, very, very juicy, very deeply attractive to people. So it has to be really careful not to let people use it, because people who have that channel, they might end up finding themselves in bed with somebody and feeling used. They hadn't really wanted to go there in the first place. Arena, you have the gate 6, the gate of friction on an open center, something you're here to become wise about. And the intimacy style is allegiance. So it's right for you, Arena, to make a kind of make allies with somebody, make a kind of allegiance with somebody so that you feel supported and that you are also offering support, both of those things. And you will be with the right person when you have that sense of allegiance with them. So they are not an enemy, they are on your side. Yasemin, you also have the gate 6, the gate of friction, you have it twice. On an open center, so something you're here to become wise about. The intimacy style, oh my God, you have the line 6 4 times on the open center. Anytime you have one gate, a lot of times, well, it's really focusing energy in that area. Whenever there's all that focus there, remember, all of that energy didn't go somewhere else. It didn't get spread out. It stayed there. You have it in a couple of nuances which totally contradict each other, almost as if cancel each other out. So it might be that sometimes you're like one and sometimes you're like the other. One of them is the lack of emotional control that can be destructive in relationships. It's the nuance is called triumph, but it's got the detriment of lack of emotional control, destructive in relationships. And then you also have it in the emotional stability to accept conflict, which is precisely the opposite. So, Yasemin, anything to say about that in your life?
Well, really couldn't understand actually.
So it's kind of a wild and crazy situation, it would look like, with intimacy, that sometimes you would be crying and very upset, and sometimes you would be very, very calm and centered. Does that resonate?
Yeah, sometimes.
What about when you
yeah.
were younger? When you were younger?
Probably, maybe.
Because we do get wiser as we get older.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And this is all something you're here to become wise about anyway. It's not really you. Then Anna has the entire intimacy channel. The intimacy styles there, and it's not conscious. So anything I tell you that's not conscious, you might be feeling a bit surprised by it. You might be feeling, I don't know, that's not really me. But it's something that's kind of underground that you might not be aware of, but other people can see in you. So these intimacy styles are arbitration. Arbitration means if something isn't working, you have the wisdom to get help. Then shyness, and the exact opposite of shyness, which is the preemptive strike. So all of this is going on, and it's all on defined centers. So this is really you. It's natural to get help. It's natural to be shy. It's also natural to make the first move. Now, this shyness is a very important energy to understand when it is connected with the intimacy. That particular energy is not an expert at making love. It's inept. It's shy, and it has a hard time finding the right person that is able to be with its vulnerability and its rawness and its openness in a soft way. Very important that the partner makes space for the shyness, and that the partner also is okay with you sometimes making the first move. And remember, you have fixed fate, so trusting your inner authority, which is your emotional center, Anna, trusting that you need time before you know what you want to do, before you know what's right for you, and that you have been responding rather than initiating. Okay, Linda. Linda, you also have the entire intimacy channel. This is kind of phenomenal that in this one group, we have so many times the intimacy channel. This is unusual that there would be so many just with this small number of people. It's not conscious, this intimacy channel, Linda. And it has two different styles for you. Arbitration, that means getting help when you're stuck, and the preemptive strike, making the first move. And anyway, because you're a 2-4, it's always appropriate for the 2-4 to have a lover where they feel friendly. So in that friendliness, you would have arbitration and the preemptive strike. You can make the first move sometimes because you trust each other. Namita, you do not have any gates on that intimacy channel. So we look at your profile for your intimacy style. And that would be then the 4 and the 6, brotherhood, sisterhood, and soulmates or not. So the way that works is be a friend before you're a lover. You should feel like a buddy, almost like you're not even thinking about sex. You're just hanging out, having a good time, being friends, sharing your heart, talking about stuff. Now, it often happens for people who have brotherhood, sisterhood as part of their intimacy style, that because of the way the human mind works, they get very attracted to distant people that will never be friends with them. And it's very frustrating then, because they'll keep trying to make that person into a friend by sharing their heart. And if that person is a distant-y kind of person and they never become a friend, it can become an obsession for the 4th line to try to make them into a friend, and then it just doesn't work, and you can waste a lot of energy that way. I tell you from my own experience. The soulmates, well, the 6th line is an idealist, so it's interested in soulmates. Human design says what the soulmate really means is bringing together your unconscious and your conscious, those red numbers and the black numbers. becoming, in other words, conscious with your unconscious. That's really what a soulmate would feel like. But the sixth line idealistically goes on looking, hoping that outside someplace there's going to be a soulmate. And if they're going to meet somebody that's really very good for them, a little bit like a soulmate. I'm never going to say soulmate because I just don't believe in them. I think that existence wanted us to find the soulmate in ourselves, and that's why she made it all so difficult on the outside. But if you're going to find somebody that's kind of like a soulmate, it will happen later in life if you have a sixth line there in your profile. But there will be that longing. Okay. I think that's everybody. Did I miss anybody? Okay.
I think
So-
I didn't get mine, if I'm correct.
Joanna.
Yes, maybe I was the last one.
Okay. Did I look at yours? Wait a minute. I know I put yours in this pile. Just a moment, Joanna. Sorry about this.
No problem.
I did your chart. Do you have your chart there?
Yes, I have.
Okay, so
I
can
found
you
it.
have a look on it and see if you have anything sticking out of that intimacy channel? Oops.
That's the connection, the line between the sacral chakra and the emotional chakra. So at the bottom of your chart, on the right-hand side, as you look at it, that's the emotional center. So you have that colored in or not. And there's this one line that connects the emotions with the sacral, which is in the middle. Do you have any of those two gates or that channel that in color that are defined?
I think the one on the right, it doesn't have any colored.
It doesn't.
Mhm.
Doesn't have any color. Joanna, I had your.
Madhuri,
If
you
it's a
have it
problem,
on
we can
your
come
page.
back next time.
Because I did the whole, your whole chart, Joanna. So if you don't have anything on that intimacy channel, what's your profile is, my bits of paper.
2-4.
2-4. So that is brotherhood, sisterhood, and shyness. Both are in there. Shyness, boldness. That means feeling like a friend. Feeling like a friend. Somebody, here's Joanna. Okay. So yeah, it's brotherhood, sisterhood, and shyness, boldness. Does that make sense to you, Joanna?
Yeah, it's getting more sense now as I'm getting more older.
Yeah, because we suffer so much, from running after somebody distant. It's such a suffering. And finally we get, okay, good. Okay, now we're going to go a little step further with this. What does this mean in a relationship?
Madhuri,
So,
I'm sorry
yeah.
to interrupt.
Yes,
What is the name for the gate 59? Gate 6 is friction and 59?
sexuality.
Sexuality. Okay, thank you.
So I sent everybody a piece of paper with some numbers on it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Did everybody get that when I sent it? Anka, I sent it to you to send.
I've sent an email to everyone with this.
You sent it. Okay, good. So this is a nifty little formula. You can see that number 1 has a loop that connects it with number 4. That means the first line of the lower trigram connects with the first line of the upper trigram. The 2 connects with the 5, and the 3 connects with the 6. You see that? So when you're looking at a partnership, you take the 2 profiles and you draw those lines to see if they have what we call a harmonic. What you want is that between the profiles of the 2 people, you have at least one harmonic. That means a connection of a 1 to a 4, or a 2 to a 5, or a 3 to a 6, or both, which hardly ever happens. That would be a full harmonic. Or you want to see a companionship in the profiles. That means they both have the same number in the profile, that one of the numbers is the same. You got that? Does that make sense? So the reason for this is, if you want to have a relationship with somebody, you're not sure, and your profiles are not harmonic, that means there is no resonance connecting them. You will be on different pages. You will not be really in the same world. And no matter how many other things are connecting in a pleasing way, you might have a lot of electromagnetics, so it can be kind of confusing, but some way or other it's going to be off. I have seen one time a relationship where the people didn't have a harmonic and they were happy. And so again, we have to say the mystery tops everything. You know, we let the mystery be the most important thing. But generally speaking, it's weird and strange when there is no harmonic. And your homework is going to be, previously everybody got a blank chart. So you're going to be taking the blank chart, sit down with a copy of your chart, your printed out chart, and color in your own chart, first of all, because when you get your own hands on the colors and put them on the chart yourself, and you draw it all in, it gives you a more experiential connection with your chart. And I would advise this, if you are looking into anybody's chart, try drawing it. So it's good to print out a lot of these blank charts, because it's something to play with, that you can start investigating people's designs by drawing them. So when you are drawing your own design into the blank chart, I'd like you to notice, first of all, how many of each line that you have. How many line 1, how many line 2, how many line 3, line 4, line 5, line 6. Those little numbers after the dots. Because we can say something about your whole chart according to if you have a lot more of one particular number. For example, I have 10 times the line 2 in my design. Out of 26 possible, that's really, really a lot. It's very rare to see 10 of any one line, extremely rare. More than 10 is amazing. Nuri, yes.
Yes, sorry, I did. So after the dot, I'm looking for, what does it mean? Like how many lines I have?
How many number 1, how many number 2, how many number 3, how many number 4, number 5, number 6.
And I look on both sides, right?
Yeah, on both sides, throughout the whole design, how many you have, just on those 2 lines. And we will talk about that next time. So that's one of the homeworks that you're going to have. Then I have everybody who has a partner that I did their chart. I have those partner charts. You can look to see if there is a harmonic with the partner. So I'm just finding these piles. Okay, and I'll just tell you what those are, what the profiles are, and then you can also check that out with your 1, 2, 3s, 4s, 5, 6 that you have on that. Is this, so far, does that make sense? Everybody knows what I'm saying? Okay. So Anka, and how do you pronounce his name? Fahed?
Fahed, yes.
Fahed, okay. So Anka, you are a 3-5 generator, and Fahed is also a 3-5 projector. Well, in this case, this is a full companionship. If the birth time was correct. Oh, and at birth time, I had to do a few different charts for Fahed because you didn't know the exact time, but it was always a 3-5. So you have a full companionship with that. Now, to have the same profile as somebody can be a very nice companionship.
Mm.
This can work very well. Antonia and Peter. Antonia, you are a 2-5 projector. Peter is a 3-5 manifesting generator. Well, we have a companionship there because both have the 5th line in the profile. Anna and Matthias. Anna is a 4-1 generator. Matthias is a 2-4 generator. So again, both are generators. This is very good. And both have a 4th line. So this is a companionship. Subhuti, 5-1 projector. And your partner is a 1-3. There we have a companionship on the 1st line. So both of you are investigators, students. Yasemin, 1-3 generator. Tariq, 4-6 projector. So Yasemin, you can use this little formula to see if this makes a harmonic or not. And I would say it's a full harmonic, actually. So this is very lucky. Hardly ever happens. If he was born, wait a minute, backtrack, because we didn't have his proper birth time. So either he is a 4-6 or he's a manifesting generator 3-5. That's a big difference. And yeah, we don't know. Umi, 3-5 generator, and Kadir is a 2-4 generator. So both are generators. That's very good. And you can see if there's a harmonic on that. Then Yasemin has a daughter, Layla. It's, well, okay, for a daughter, it's also interesting to see if there's a harmonic. Layla is a 4-6 projector. Yasemin is a 1-3 generator. And yes, there's a full harmonic on that profile. Okay, does that make sense? You're going to be coloring in your chart, noticing how many of which lines you have. And I'll be sending you all the profiles so that you can study them. Generators, could you please do again your question with a partner if you can manage to have time, and anybody who manages to do Kundalini, it's fantastic. So does anybody have any questions now?
I have a question about the harmonics. So,
Yes.
So like I'm a 5-1. So let's say I have someone who's like, I don't know, like the 1 is like the 2nd number rather than the 1st. That would still be a companionship. So it doesn't have to be the 1st number match. It's like any
Right.
of them.
Yeah.
And the same
Because-
with the harmonics.
What?
So like I'm a 1-5. So my perfect harmonic would be like a 4-2, I guess, or like a 2-4. Either of those, that would be.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. If you're a
And the
5-1,
order-
your perfect harmonic would be, no, wait a minute. If you're a 5-1, your perfect
Yeah.
harmonic would need to be, have a 4 and a
Yeah.
2. Yeah, 2-4. Yeah, 2-4.
Okay.
So now I'm going to just say something about a combination that I've often seen, that even though it has a harmonic, it doesn't work very well. So a harmonic is a good thing, but there can be pitfalls. If a 1-3 and a 2-4 together is kind of weird, because the 1-3 is seeing things in terms of weakness and strength, and they're viewing through that lens. The 2-4 is seeing things in terms of confident or not. So the 2-4 likes to sit around and share their stuff. They want to talk about what's going on with them, what's in their heart. The 1-3 might perceive this as a weakness, that this person is exposing too much, that they're making themselves look weak by doing this. And if the 1-3 is not accepting her own vulnerability, she might end up judging the 2-4 as being an idiot of some kind. And if she's really identified with being an authority, she might try to change her, give her exercises to do to make her better and different. Because the 1-3 actually with anybody can have a bit of a hard time that way, because the partner can feel judged. So it's very important for the 1-3s that they stay human, that they stay humble. Otherwise, they have a harder time in relationship. Okay, anybody else have any questions?
Yeah, I have one question.
Yes, Nori.
So I get the harmonics part, and the other one is if somebody has same number as yours, that means friendliness, right?
Friendliness, this is a companionship. So you understand each other, same page. I mean, human design does say that friendship is a higher value than love. Osho also said this. This is kind of where we're heading, that we're going to become more and more like friends with each other and have more compassion and empathy with each other, and less of this, enemies and bad type of stuff.
And that's what my chart shows too, it sounds like.
Yeah, yours is more like that. But of course, you could find it very attractive to
I do.
Suffer, so to put it mildly. Okay, anybody else? Any questions?
I have a question about
Yes.
partial companionship. I
Mhm.
was in a relationship with somebody twice, with whom we share one channel, number 3. So I'm on 1-3 and he was a 3-5.
Yeah.
And he was convinced that we were not compatible. So I wonder, what does partial companionship mean? Actually? Or
I think that would have been something else in the designs that he thought you weren't compatible for, because if you both have a third line, well, maybe that was him making a mistake. You're both here to make mistakes. So it was probably something else in the chart. By the way, it's funny that you brought this up, because the third line, one of the things about intimacy, anybody with a third line in their profile, it's natural for you to meet somebody by bumping into them, literally bumping. You're hurtling out of a doorway and you crash into somebody, and this ends up being your next partner. So bumping is very important for third lines. A lot of things, good things happen through bumping as well as bad things. Anybody else? Any question? Anybody want to say anything how they feel?
I personally feel that there are many information that I have to digest a bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good.
The lines, I still don't really get everything that everyone. Yeah, I have to read more into it so I can
Okay.
be more present in the
Oh,
discussion.
I will also send, as well as the profiles, I'll also send you a few pages about the lines. Because the lines, when you have that piece, really a lot of things get clearer throughout the whole chart. Okay, anybody else?
And what do you mean about coloring? Just copying the profile
Yeah,
of what you
you're just
sent us?
copying it. Copy
Red,
all the
black.
numbers, all the chakras, color them in, the lines, the channels, some red, some black. Just copy it, but with your own hands. It's a very, now I have a program that was a very expensive program. So I can do a couples chart just by pushing a few clicks. But before I had that program, for years, I was doing all the couples charts by hand. And I wasn't sorry, because it really gave me a sense of digging in to it, while I was making it like that. So it's a very good practice to make some charts by hand. Anybody else? Anything to share?
And also one more thing. What if you
Yes.
don't really, how do you find the chart if you don't really know the birth time?
So this is a big deal. The birth time, it's so different all over the world, how whether they put them on birth certificates and blah, blah, blah. And hospitals, depending on how long ago the birth was, if you can contact the hospital, they often have it. You can get replacement birth certificates because people need birth certificates for a lot of official stuff. So there are ways to get birth certificates, and it is on some of them and not on others. You can ask the mother if she's still alive. You can ask the auntie. You can ask people generally, was it, because even if you know if it was the morning or the afternoon or the evening or the night, this is already helpful. If you can narrow it down within a few hours, it's better than the whole 24 hours. When somebody really doesn't know, I make 5 or 6 charts for the day. And then at least many things will be consistent because there are a lot of basic things, the slow moving planets, that are consistent. So we can definitely say some stuff with confidence, but there will be other things that we cannot know. And then we can guess. Sometimes it's very clear to the person that they are a certain profile and not another profile. You know, when there's a choice between 2 or 3 of them, we can sort of intuit. But it's best to try every possibility to find the right thing. There are other layers to human design where it changes every 5 minutes. So when we're looking into what your style of eating is, for example. So it's good to be as accurate as possible. From some countries, you tend to get whole numbers for the birth time. It'll say 1900 or 2000, which I don't trust, because how many times can somebody be born exactly on the hour? You know, I'm sure it happens sometimes, but it makes me think that probably they're just rounding it off. All we can do is the best we can.
Okay, thank
But
you.
there will be many things that are consistent still with the slow moving planets. Okay, anybody
Okay.
else, anything to share or to ask? Okay,
I-
so
I still have
yes,
a quick,
Yes.
and Joanna, I see, has a question.
Yeah.
A quick question, a doubt. So about the harmonic, if I am 1-3, the
Uh-huh.
harmonic partner would be both 4-6 and 6-4, or only 4-6.
no.
Only
If you're a
4-6,
1-3,
right?
yes. If you're a 1-3, the best for you is a 4-6. That would be your
Okay.
harmonic. But it's not.
Okay.
Don't worry. We're not looking for ideals. We're
Yeah,
just
it's
looking
just to
for
understand.
how it is. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
But you might end up having a friend, a girlfriend who has that, and you just have a particular sense of harmony with that person. My full harmonic is a 5-1, and I have a few friends that are 5-1s that I have such a feeling of valuing of them somehow, So anybody else, anything you want to share, anything you want to ask?
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify. So if I'm 2-4, the best match is 1-3.
No, as a 2-4, your full harmonic would be a 5-1.
Okay.
But
And
don't
also
look for it.
generator, for example. If I'm generator, is the best match if someone is generator as well.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
But this is just for your information to know how it works, but don't think that you have to find that, really. It is not up to us. We're not driving. We're the passenger. So it's just to know what we're dealing with when it lands in our lap. Okay, so it's my intention before next week to find out what the hell went wrong with my internet access, that the laptop just would not open up my Gmail and would not open up the Zoom, so that this never happens again. And I've got a really good tech guy. I'll just have to get hold of him. And I'll see you all next week. Next week, we're
I'm
going to
sorry,
be
I think Antonia wants to say something. Tonya?
Yes.
You have her hand raised from a while.
Yes, Tonya.
Yes, I'm kind of thrown with my intimacy style, which completely doesn't resonate with me. So I'm kind of asking myself, what do I do with this, you know?
So all I can tell you, Tonya, is that when I found out my intimacy style, which is brotherhood, sisterhood, I was really shocked because I had been chasing men who were distant and falling madly in love with people who could not talk to me. And I had really dedicated myself to that for decades. And it sounded to me very boring to be with somebody who was like a friend. It was like, well, you know, what's the excitement in that? At the time, I was, however, closer to getting ready to looking at it because I had suffered so much. I would only ask, Tonya, when you were little, how was sex seen by your parents? How did they tell you about it? What was the atmosphere and the attitude about sex and about women being sexy?
Well, there wasn't any. My father died when I was 5.
Ooh.
So there was no.
And what about your mom? What was her attitude?
Well, she remarried when I was 11. And that was not very, from when I was 11 to 20, she was remarried with somebody who brought 2 boys in the house. And that was not a very pleasant experience.
Right. So you felt overwhelmed? Or...
Yes, because the mother of the boys had committed suicide. She hung herself, and the eldest son found his mother hanged. So my mother brought all this trauma into our house by bringing these 3 men in the house. It was and they weren't normal.
Yes.
And yeah. So yeah, sex was never really discussed. Yeah.
So it sounds like there was quite a lot of trauma and repression. It's very traumatic to have freaked out males around when you're a little girl. You know, I had 5 brothers, and just having those brothers, and they weren't particularly freaked out, but it was very traumatic for me just that they were all there, you know, and bigger than me. And it's possible that your inner, well, what's the word? Burlesque, because this is a rather burlesque intimacy style. And maybe your burlesque never had a chance. You know, she never, in fact, if she had come out, she would have been punished. She would have been traumatized further. It was not safe at all.
No, it was a complete unsafe environment. Yeah.
So
she's still traumatized people.
Maybe she's still there. If I would make any suggestion, it would be sometime or other to watch a burlesque and just notice what happens in yourself. You know, does it feel horrible? Does it feel frightening? Does it feel weird? Does it feel whatever it is, exciting, whatever it is? It might be bringing up something ghastly. I don't know, but just to see what happens. Is that okay that I suggest that? Just
sure.
Yeah, because we're looking at something that has nothing to do with those traumatized boys, you know, nothing, something that is not connected with that trauma at all. That's what we're trying to get away from all those boys and come back to something playful.
Mhm.
Okay, good. Is that
Yeah.
okay? Yeah.
Yeah.
I know it's a scary subject, the whole thing. Okay. Anybody else? Anything you
Can
want
I
to share?
can I just ask something about this? Because I
Yeah.
believe you said that for Tanya, this center was on an open center. So it's not something
Yes.
that feels like it's who she is, but it's something she's here to become wise about.
Yes.
So I'm wondering, just to understand if this is the way to look at it, is does that mean that maybe this expression of like the femme fatale, which is like a playful expression of strong, alive sexual power as a woman,
Yeah.
might actually be something that would be something that's healing, and that's something that doesn't feel like her, but that might be actually a really empowering thing that might be a positive way to go into sexuality or not?
It would be something to experiment with in some way, something at least to look at from different directions. And because it has been so traumatized, it would need a whole lot of very self-loving, caring tenderness with herself to look at it. Because definitely once she starts looking at it, the trauma is going to come up, and she's going to want to find out what's behind the trauma, what is not the trauma. But in a funny way, things come in our lives that disturb these open center gates. They attract trouble because we're here to become wise about them. So it's all something to look at. Okay.
Yeah,
yeah.
if you don't mind.
Yes, love.
I have never felt very sexual in my life. So, yeah.
Tanya, you are a projector, and this is already, you're here to become wise about sex. That means you aren't a red hot mama, but you would want to see what it was all about. And crying is very good. I think you got trumped on because you were very, very sensitive when you were young. And your inner authority is your heart space, your love. And you were surrounded by traumatized, heavy-handed, freaked out people. You're very finely tuned, Tanya. Very subtle, very, very sensitive. This is your real nature. And you got squashed. You got squashed. And you know, when you grew up, it would have been hard to find a partner who was gentle enough also. You know, they do exist, but not so easy to find. So it's a matter of reclaiming again how sensitive you are.
Yeah.
And don't expect yourself to be a red hot anything.
No, but that doesn't match with the femme fatale.
No, but the femme fatale is on an open center. It's something you're here to become wise about. Okay. So it's a playful, it's like a role, you know, and it doesn't mean you have to do anything. It's more just watch what comes up about it. That's enough. You're subtle. You're not here to be gross. Okay?
Yes.
Just to watch it. All the ways in which you have found yourself not being a femme fatale. You know, this is also educational.
Yeah.
You know, because you were very squashed. Nobody knew how sensitive you were. No. You know, they all thought you were a generator.
Yes,
Wrong.
and I've been acting like a manifesting generator my whole life.
Of course. Of course, that's what you were taught to be. And you felt insecure, so you felt I better do it hard, twice as hard as they do. That's what projectors do. It's called the projector wound.
Yeah.
Trying to keep up with the generators. And it's not your job.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Good. Okay. Okay. So I think it's time, and we see us next week at 2:45 my time, I hope. And I will, meantime, make sure that the tech works. And next time we are going to deal with what you're not. So I'll send you a bunch of info tomorrow. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Anka. Thank you so much.
Bye,
It's
everyone.
only because of you that this actually could happen today at all. Bye.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.